What kind of public transportation do you usually take?
Well, first of all, I always take public transportation because I live in a huge metropolis. So I think driving is torture and parking your car is even more torture. So I just like to take taxis. I can just grab a cab. It's not too expensive and I don't have to worry about parking my car. Well, I live in a huge metropolis of a city. So it's very important to take public transportation. If you drive a car, there's a lot of traffic and parking the car is torture. It's really difficult. I usually take the subway. It's convenient. Occasionally, I'll take a bus or just grab a cab sometimes because it's pretty cheap and I never have to worry about parking my car.
When do you usually take public transportation? In your everyday life or when you're traveling?
Well, I think both, but especially when traveling, because in our everyday life, we usually have a routine. Everything that I do, my job, it's all close to home, so I can just walk. I don't really have to take public transportation. When I'm traveling, of course, I'm not so familiar with the terrain where I am, so I need to figure out the map of the subway or the underground. Sometimes I have to grab a cab.
Do most people prefer public transportation in your country?
Actually, in my country, Canada, it really depends on where a person lives. Because we have some big cities where public transportation is important and they need to have subways. But many of our cities are very sparsely populated. So the public transportation systems are not so efficient. It's very important to have a car. In my hometown, I drive everywhere. It's better. But if I would go to Toronto, for example, I would definitely need to figure out how to take the buses. Because if I drove, there would be way too many traffic jams.
Did you take public transportation when you were a kid?
Actually, not very often, because I grew up in a small town and my parents would drive me everywhere. They were like my personal drivers. And also when I was a kid, I was really shy and anxious and kind of like afraid of people. So I didn't really like to take a bus or get into a cab by myself. So when I was a kid, pretty much just got driven around every day by my parents.